Hi everyone, Marie here, and today's video is my fourth weekly wrap-up in April, I think it is. Even though this is the fourth week in April, but by the time I do my wrap-up for this week, it will be in May, so I'm calling it the fourth week. I read a total of 8 books this week, but I'm going to do this in 2 separate videos because 4 of those books were for Authorathon, so I'm going to do that in an Authorathon wrap-up, which will hopefully shorten the video in itself. So the first thing I read this week was Paper Girls. Paper Girls was a little difficult for me to understand. It's about 4 12-year-old girls who deliver the newspaper, and it starts with the morning after Halloween in 1988, and it's a sci-fi type of thing. I think aliens come down and are taking people away, but in the beginning it's like they just think it's people that are dressed up from Halloween. It's so weird, I can't even explain it to you properly. My second book was Wolf by Wolf, and I enjoyed this book. It's based in a time with Hitler, and a young girl called Yale, I think. She's taken with a bunch of other Jewish people and done experiments on. And in the end, her experiments cause her to skin shift. So then we jump ahead in time. Well, we jump back and forth throughout the story, and we jump ahead in time, and her mission is to kill Hitler. And then we follow her events throughout the story. This was a very fast-paced story. I found it very gripping. I wasn't really quite sure how I was going to feel about the history aspect, considering I don't read a lot of books with history in it. But I think it was done very well for the topic. I would highly recommend this book. I thought this book was a standalone book, and it turns out to be that there's a new one coming out soon, I think. So I'm actually quite excited for that one. The next thing I read was an audiobook, actually, of The Fifth Wave. And I read this one in the middle of Authorathon, but that's because my library said, it's in and you gotta read it. So I listened to this one on audiobook, and I wasn't really quite sure going into it how I'd feel. I mean, there's a lot of hype around The Fifth Wave. It's sci-fi-ish, and I'm not really much of a sci-fi person, but I really did enjoy it. It's from multiple POVs, which, listening to audiobook, I managed to keep them straight, considering that the voices were different, and it went from a woman to a man. The story starts with Cassie and her brother. Her brother's being taken where they think is a safe place, and it turns out not to be so safe. So Cassie is spending her time trying to save her brother, and we are at the dawn of the fifth wave, and it's trust nobody. And Cassie meets up with a boy named Evan, and he might be her only hope to find her brother. So we go through her story and her travels, and we also go through, we also see her brother's side and the people with him. It was a very interesting read, and I probably will continue on with the series. So on to the last thing I read, which was another graphic novel, and that was I Hate Fairyland, Volume 1. This was weird. It's about a girl named Gertrude who gets sucked down into her floor into Fairyland, and she has to find the key to get out. It's supposed to be a lovely, fluffy, wonderful experience. Her being sucked into the floor wasn't lovely for her. Her landing there wasn't lovely for her. And she ends up being stuck there for like 27 odd years. She never grows. She's like a 30-year-old person in an 8-year-old body. And she's bitter. And she's pissed off. So it's a lot of blood and guts and gore and swearing, which is not technically swearing. It's like a lot of fluffer movers and mother fuffers and fluffers and whatever not. I wasn't really quite sure when I first started, but as it went on, it was very entertaining. So we watch her travels throughout, and of course she's pissing a lot of people off on her way, and the Queen of Fairyland is pissed off and wants to get rid of her. So we see that, and we see Gertrude get more pissed off and pissed off and pissed off, and by the end of the graphic novel, it was a pretty bittersweet ending. So yeah, those were my reads. I enjoyed them all. Paper Girls was my least enjoyable one. I'm not really quite sure if I will continue on with that graphic novel or not, but the other three were okay, and I'm really excited for the second installment of Wolf by Wolf. So what was your reading week like? Have you read any of these? If you have, let me know what you think about them down below. And like I said, I will be posting another video probably in a couple of days. I'm going to get this one edited and stuck right up. So sometime this week, I will have my wrap up for Rainbow-thon up. And until that video, I hope y'all have a wonderful reading week, and I will see you then. Bye!